Great job. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I guess it depends which time zone you came in from. It's really nice to be here. I cheated and flew from California to London so that I could attempt to get over jet lag before getting here so that I would be good to go. What that meant is that I went to a lot of musical theater and I've eaten a lot of Indian food, which has been wonderful. So now I am here, and what is fascinating to me about being invited to come speak at Esomar is that I am not a market researcher. I was a sociology major and a ceramics minor. I ended up self-employed. I wonder how that happened. So I am familiar with surveys, and I took a vow upon graduating from the university that I would always respond to a survey. I am 51 years old. You're supposed to gasp. I have completed every survey that has ever come in the mail, ever come over email, or ever come to the phone. You're welcome. Now, in my own research, the reason why I want to focus on normalizing complexity is because it's the new old and the old new. We're going to be doing a lot of wordplay today. I do want you to write down my number. This is my actual cell phone number. I'm sure some of you are very excited about that. I'm on brand. The reason why is because one of the weird things about being a keynote speaker is that you are supposed to be stirred. My job is to be thought-provoking. Those of you that are online, you're not even in the room, and I'm supposed to make you think and ask a question. And then you have no access to me to ask that question, and then you forget I exist. So some of that is still going to be true, but I want you to be able to text me when you need it. If you need an icebreaker for texting, because some of you are very polite, this passive politeness, I am a New Yorker Texan, so I'm not used to it, but I'm going to invite you to take a picture of me. Save me in your phone as the weird blue-haired lady you get to ask questions to. Whatever you need to do. If you can take a picture of me and my mouth is closed and I have one chin, I will give you the case studies from my newest research, because you can text message it to me, okay? Text message, send me your email. I'm not kidding. If you want free resources, it's not a spam list. I don't do that. I am from the US, but I'm actually not gross. You can go to flamingo.day and download those resources as well. Okay, in the mentoring session that we talked about, and typically when I am asked to speak to folks who are focusing on AI, I am here to remind you that you are a human being. Let's let that sink in. You know that this morning when you woke up and realized you forgot to pack the good socks. And so you are wearing weird socks right now because you're at a conference and you had to figure out how to make it do. You're a human. Regardless of how long you have been in this industry or what your title is, I want to invite you to understand that if you and I were to interact, we are significantly more likely to interact by bumping our grocery carts into each other at the store than I am ever going to talk to you about AI research and the future of robots or something like that. That is not my jam. Grocery stores, definitely my jam. I'm going to invite you to be a person. I want to invite you to be the table who sat next to me last night when I had the best spaghetti I have had in a very long time at the hotel. I'm going to invite you to be the crowd of people yesterday morning in Heathrow who were so excited about coming to this conference, and you said you were going to be here this morning. I dress up pretty good when I'm not traveling on a plane. I want to invite you to think about when you are being a person. And the reason why is because when you are just being a person, that is going to be the best intel you have on understanding the patterns that your research is coming out with. That's the best lived experience. It is a free tool for you to improve qualitative research. I've been reading the comments in the app, and I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this while you're here. You are here with a group of people to figure out how to get the best return on investment. Now, I'm going to use businessy words. When during COVID, I got an MBA, said no sculpture major ever. And it was a very frustrating process for me. And largely, I learned some words and then applied it to my research and my work around uncertainty. And what I have realized is that these words aren't just business terms. A shareholder isn't just someone who looked at their resources, decided they wanted to make free money without labor, made a donation or an investment, and are expecting a return on that investment. A shareholder is you, because you actually care about something. Who knows what that is? You care about that thing because it's actually important to you. After diving through the app, which I highly recommend you download, it matches my hair. When you download the app and you listen to what people are able to deliver and pair it with what they are looking for while they're here, what's there is a human message of I need to sell this and I need to take this home. You are shareholders. When we start talking about complexity, I want you to think about a telescope. That might be a leap for people. Remember, I am an art person. What I mean by this is that a shareholder is looking through what I would call the wrong end. It's the wrong end of the telescope. There's only two ends, but a shareholder's looking through this end, and it goes from very large all the way down to one fine little point. So when you're looking at your research, you could think of it that way. Is this research study going from very big to very small? When we're riding in the elevator together tomorrow, is our individual conversation going to make your day better? Is it going to make my day better? Those individual experiences. Now, shareholders are usually paired with stakeholders. Stakeholders is the other side of the telescope. Right? Is that you're just one little teeny tiny research project. You're just one teeny tiny little company. You're just one teeny tiny person. But when you look through that telescope, it expands. And all of a sudden, what you value and what you care about is what you're actually focusing on. I believe the reason why I have job security is that I got people who don't know how to talk with a telescope in between them, but they are actually looking at the same object. If you are coming from one perspective and expecting everyone else to be doing the same thing, that is going to be flawed research. Stop doing that. If you want to normalize complexity, recognize that you might need to flip the end of the telescope in order to have that conversation. Or be very specific. Feel free to raise your hand. I can't remember who it is, but somebody in the app said the name of their company, which would be really helpful if I could remember that right now, but I can't. The name of their company doesn't do much, but what it does do, it's exceptional at. The one thing AI can't take away from white-collar jobs are the people who are the very best at them. What is your exceptional point, and how does it connect to the greater values that you care about? If we can understand that complexity is never actually going to be ironed out to smoothness, then we can normalize the fact that we can be disrupted. We can expect a disruption. What is fascinating to me, if we're talking about Kafka from the opening speaker, or other moments or innovations, or suddenly a picture was taken of the structure of DNA, those should have been disruptive moments. But we don't remember the specifics. But yet they're still so very relevant right now. In most of my research, what I have realized is that our brains, I am not a psychologist person, there are people here smarter than me, but it seems when I talk to people, actual conversations with people, they think the world is a straight line. That's already a problem. It's not a straight line. Most spectrums come with a this and a this. And I'm going to invite you, when we're talking about how we could make improvements, how do we get better, is to not make it a straight line. That's the problem. If we can make it more realistic, it definitely would be closer to a circle. And if it is closer to a circle, what's incredible is that better and worst are right next to each other. We spend most of our time at the belly of the circle. And we're hoping we don't get here, and we're hoping we could get here. As someone coming from the US right now, I need to remember that as scary as it might be right now for me, we are so close to it being better than I've ever imagined. Is it possible that we can think about what almost means? Almost is a motivating momentum place. And you can slip and slide and rock there, and it's not a bad place to be. It's just where you're at. The new book that I have here today is called Almost Doing Good. And I took case studies from my actual clients of where their good intentions caused more harm than they intended. But I don't want to negate their good intentions. Their good intentions were headed in the right direction, it just didn't work. I don't think failure is terrible. I actually wish most of my clients would value failure or would put failure into their mission of their organization. We tend to only reward exceptionalism. But how did you get to exceptional? If it happened to be a one-shot thing and you magically became exceptional, that's a one-off. What's more complex is everyone trying so hard to just do a little bit better. And that's what I really want to pay attention to. If you are clear on what your organization's mission and vision is, and let's be honest, I'm a crisis consultant, I'm the only one who has read those documents. Go and find them. I promise they're outdated. I'm happy to help you update them if you need it. But at the heart is a founder. I think it's so amazing that y'all who did the pitches to start out, or other people who started their own organizations, when you're so excited that you're laying awake at night, just vibrating with ideas of what it is you can do. Then let's say you get to do it. You win the pitch, you get the seed money, you start getting clients, you start building momentum. The sweet spot for normalizing complexity is as you start growing, and you get really excited as a founder because you get to go home someday. And then you go home someday and they run the company without you. Will they still remember the core mission and vision that kept you as a founder awake at night? And they will if you're living it. And if you're allowing that mission and vision to be as complicated and normal as possible. We're talking about reimagining, we're not rewriting. I want you to dig in to what are your actual policies and habits, not just of your organization, but who are you? How are you? Let's go back to elevators, or I do crash into your cart at a grocery store. What's your response to that? Does it matter if you're in a hurry? Those of you that have children, I do not have children, you're welcome. How do you respond? Who do you show up as? This really hit me on a personal level, not an organizational level, when I was in a really bad car accident during COVID. And I was driving a Fiat, fun and zippy, don't you think it's appropriate? Had the wreck happened a second off, I would not be here. A woman ran a stop sign going about 80 miles per hour in a residential area. I'm sorry, I'm from the US, I don't know what that is in kilometers, it's fast. clipped my front bumper, totaled the Fiat. If you've never been in a car wreck with airbags, I highly recommend it. When I was able to get out of the car, the impact was so bad that my keys separated from the ring in the ignition and were over in the floorboard of the passenger side. When I got out of the car, the driver of the other car had a clipboard. Now, I don't know how many white women are in here, but a white woman with a clipboard is some serious business. She was defensive, she was angry, she had 5 kids in the car. I didn't see a seatbelt or a car seat or shoes. There's glass everywhere. In that moment, I don't want this to be a cheesy motivational speaker moment, but in that moment, I got to choose who to be. I was not in the wrong. I was alive. Frankly, the smallness had gotten a little annoying. I didn't know how to resell a Fiat in a small town. Spoiler alert, total it. I was nice. I answered her questions. I gave her my insurance. Because my personal policies and habits are always consistent. Now, that was an unexpected moment. I didn't know that was going to happen, right? Uncertainty and control matter, but they shouldn't shake you. You know what the key to being uncertain is? You can be certain that you will be uncertain. Something's going to happen and you're going to be, where'd that come from? You can have total control that soon, if not in this moment, there will be a moment where you feel out of control. Now, I am a triple Virgo. I have complex PTSD, I have OCD, I do not have ADHD, and there's probably other letters too. When I say that I'm a control freak, the idea that I am controlling when I feel out of control is pretty much me in a sentence. But I am certain that I'm going to need it. I'm certain because uncertainty is one of the most certain things that exists. If we're talking about normalizing complexity, I'm not talking about simplicity. And yet, isn't it kind of simple? As I did my research, everybody wanted me to put it into a binary of a do this and a don't do this. And that is not a personal policy or habit. And by that, I mean following people's expectations, following the rules, and doing what people tell me to do. I have been fired from every job I have ever had. I am self-employed, and I fire myself on a regular basis. I am currently on a probation plan. We'll see how today goes. Thank you. Here is my binary for you. After working with thousands of clients and probably hundreds of thousands of survey respondents, look at that for qualification in the room. The truth is that to actually normalize complexity, to reimagine your need for an on-off 0-1 binary system, I'm going to introduce you to a bicycle. And not even just a bicycle, not even a 2-seater bicycle, but a 3-seater bicycle, and yet it is still a single bicycle. Are you with me? You're normalizing complexity here. This is a bicycle. If any of you do these things called exercise, I do not do exercise, but I am married to a former professional triathlete who has 5 bicycles, which is where I got the idea that you could have a lot of bicycles in one bicycle. I'm going to ask you to look at these not as step 1, step 2, or step 3. But if you were to ride a 3-seated bicycle, everyone needs to pedal. But you can take a break every once in a while. Now, if you take a break, and Gen Xers in the room, this is a trigger warning for us, but if you take a break, you run the risk of the scar we all have on our shin of putting our feet back down onto the pedals. But these three elements work together. Now, we all like preparation. And based on the comments inside the app, y'all are in prep mode. Preparation is, what are you already doing? What are your policies? I'm not kidding about your mission and vision. Did you Google it? How easy is it to find on your website? If it takes me as a consultant, I'm saving you money right now. If it takes me more than 2 minutes to find your company or your organization's mission and vision, I am charging you more. I'm also going to walk in the door of your house for a potluck for your kid's 10th birthday party. And upon walking the threshold of your home, I'm giving you 2 minutes to tell me what is the mission and vision of how you run your household. Think of that. That's far more likely to happen, statistically speaking. Can you be that transparent of knowing exactly what it is your organization does? What do your fellow industry partners inside your industry and inside your own community, both sides of the telescope? What do they do? What have they done? And what do you want to do? You can do case study work all the time. Again, take a picture, one chin, mouth closed. You get the case studies there at the back of the book. Preparation is the easy one. We can spend a lot of time there. Great. I'm even going to go as far as to say the difference between a reaction and a response are easy. A reaction is kind of this knee-jerk reaction, which, well said, I'm a professional speaker. How many times have you been in a pickle, an intersection of not knowing what to do, and some little hardwired bit of your brain goes, we should do a survey. Smart, what's that survey gonna say? Y'all are like survey expert people from what I've been able to understand. So you have an entire career over people reacting to, oh, I guess we should do a survey. A response would know why that is what you should or should not be doing right now. Should you do a survey or should you go talk to people? Back to my car accident, I could easily have stayed in my car, called my insurance company, and not to be too big of a flex, but pretty much bought a new car before I got out of my car. I could have been that person. But that's not how I respond. I respond to a human. When I did eventually get the call from their insurance company, because she magically had full insurance coverage, I don't know how this works in other countries, but that is shocking to me. When I got the call, the only thing I wanted to know about is if the kids were okay. Were there any injuries? And the insurance company said out loud on a recorded line, the accident was not your fault. I am aware of that. I was there. I would like to know, are people okay? Because that's how I respond. That's who I am as a person, that's who I am in business, and that's who I'm gonna be when you bump into me in a parking lot. The one that's hard, and I'm gonna challenge you, you've been challenged already 14 times this morning, is the first day I would already need a nap. I'm gonna challenge you though, to work on this middle one. Partially the reason why I'm focusing on this one is because of where I'm coming from. I did not know how much I needed a break from where I live until I went to London for a week, which was just different enough to make me cry every day, and just exactly the same enough that I realized this is the human condition right now. The middle one is I want you to figure out how to recognize a problem that you don't experience. I don't think AI can replace that skill. That is a muscle that has atrophied collectively, and possibly because of the technology stuffins. Can you recognize a problem that you do not experience as real? If so, No complex situation will be abnormal. You'll be prepared for it. You'll be able to know how you should or shouldn't respond. When we talk about the disruption, I am a disruption. Surprise! Yesterday morning, I got to Heathrow super early, triple Virgo. I sat next to a person who was sitting next to the credit card machine. I'm still figuring out contactless credit cards because I'm old. This person had sourdough toast on their traditional breakfast. I have not seen toast. I didn't know I could ask for it. I didn't know I missed it until I saw it. So, who am I? What do I believe in? It's 6 a.m. at Heathrow. Guy next to me is an international ballroom dancer, and he won first place yesterday, the day before, in London, and was from New York, did the competition, going back to New York, and always asks for sourdough. He compared sourdough toast to a Snickers candy bar. I told him that is a false equivalent, but I do want some toast. We ended up having a conversation, and he almost missed his flight. He introduced me to, I'm gonna probably say this wrong, is it Sugar Rose, an Icelandic band? Never heard of them. They're amazing. Hopelandic is a language. I've been listening to them nonstop. I introduced him to some readings that I was doing. He got on his plane. He made it. You're welcome. We are texting while he is flying over the ocean. We are exchanging things that we have read and thought. I am inspiring him to choreograph dance music because of how fast oncoming dementia actually encourages us to remember how much we love people. That was not expected when it started at sourdough toast. There's a very good chance I will never talk to him again. We are Instagram friends. I didn't know Instagram had direct messages. Maybe we will. But I'm asking you, while you're here in this space, can you have a real conversation? Not about the company that you work at or the company that they work at, but how do you eat your toast? Do you like toast? It's a great icebreaker question. You're welcome. When you begin to understand how to slow down and figure out which side of the telescope you're coming from and which side of the telescope are they coming from, I might have to go get a real job. But the reality is that you're not going to do it. And I live in the US. I probably still have to go get a real job. I want to leave you with a story. This story came from my grandfather. Now, I don't know about you, but I think you learn a lot about a person when they tell you stories about their crazy family members. Or at least mine tend to be crazy. So I grew up in Texas. So my grandfather and I were taking a break from plowing a field at some point in time. We're leaning on a barbed wire fence post, both smoking. I was 12. And he has this amazing ability of telling me a story that at the time, I have absolutely no idea what on earth he is talking about. And then 30 years later, I'm writing a book. And like a little earworm, out came this moment. He told me a story about a group of weary travelers. Sound familiar? They're exhausted. They're burnt out. Into their bone marrow, they are crispy. They're on their journey and they get taken in by someone who offers them soup. They all sit at a table. They're served piping hot bowls of soup. Big bowls of hot soup. And they need this nourishment. When the spoons are placed by the bowls, they're too long and they're too heavy to ever be able to actually use to eat the soup. Some of the tired journey travelers get real mad. They're frustrated. They're this close to nourishment and they can't even do anything about it. They get real mad. Other people try to pick up the bowls. It's too hot for their fingers. And then there's one voice. And the one voice at the table says, if we can work together, we can pick up the spoons, and feed the person across the table. And if we're lucky enough, they will have enough nourishment to do the same for us. Now, in the US, we have a colloquialism of, I'm out of spoons. This is when you gotta take like a mental health day, you're out of spoons. It's an idiom, I have no idea why. That's a thing. I wanna invite you to pay attention to whether or not you're paying attention. Pay attention to whether or not you are paying attention to how heavy your spoon is, or how hot your bowl is, or how hungry they are. The best way to improve your qualitative research based on the app and all of the, how do I do this? How do I quantify qualitative research? Re-examine the question. Take a moment to notice the difference that this side of the table versus this side of the table, sometimes this side of the table needs to be paid attention to too. If we can do this, and we can do this together, then we can recognize that complexity is a given. Uncertainty is the most certain. And the only way to really truly be disruptive, innovative, and creative is to see what happens. Feed someone else, and you will get fed. The case studies are in the book. I will be at the author's corner, but I really want to encourage you to really listen to the core message of almost doing good. And the core message is good enough now. Do the best you can with what you've got some of the time, because it's better than nothing never. My name is Jess Pettit. I'm not kidding about text messaging me. Feel free, anytime, forever. Thank you. Go have a great day.